Princess, come here. Come on, baby, baby. Baby, baby. Baby, baby, baby. I want my baby. Give me my baby back ribs. Princess, come here, baby. Princess. Bed, I'll cuddle with you. Come here, baby. Come here, baby. Come on, baby.
Right.
I want
It's
my
time we
baby.
spoke about your mother, Louis.
She isn't missing, you know.
What? What do you mean?
My mother has left traces in every nook and cranny of your island, my lord. She's definitely here. Now, what worries me most is why she doesn't show herself.
That doesn't make me feel any better, Louis.
What was the official reason why my mother came to your island?
I knew about your mother's activities, and yours, in the Golden Order. I thought we had everything to gain by working together.
You mean the canon deal with Monsieur Bonaparte?
Among others, yes. How did you hear about that?
Monsieur Bonaparte came to speak to me about it yesterday, during lunch.
I see. So impetuous. He was supposed to let me speak to you about it first. Our friend Napoleon desperately needed financial backing to properly equip his army. I took it upon myself to back him because I have a firm conviction that he can go far.
We shall see. However, there's one thing that surprises me. Did my mother intend to finance a war? I'm not sure that I follow.
No, your mother's aim was not so much to partake in a war, but rather to make Monsieur Bonaparte accountable. France is in turmoil, and having support of a military man can often come in handy, Louis. You'll see. Once this deal was closed, I had big plans for Sarah.
Such as what?
You see, I've invited several influential figures on my island to present them with a project at the conference. It will be presented later today. I thought that the Golden Order had a role to play, and I still think so. I was hoping Sarah would be able to join us.
I see.
Indeed, if by chance your mother decided not to return to us before the conference, would you do me the great honor of attending? If only to follow the deliberations while waiting for her to duly take her seat.
Why not? We shall see.
Ah, thank you so much. In this way, you'll be able to keep your mother informed of what is said. There's something else I'd like to briefly go over. Earlier, you asked me the official reason for your mother's presence here. Is there an off-the-record reason why your mother came here?
She was looking for someone.
What do you mean?
In Paris, we were working on a smuggling case to do with occult objects. We had just arrested a dealer who intended to go to you to meet a buyer. My mother was here to find out to whom he intended to sell his stolen treasure.
Oh. What was the name of your dealer?
If I'm not mistaken, the dealer was called Von Roche?
Name means nothing to me. There's something I still don't get. In your opinion, why would your mother remain in hiding over several weeks?
Maybe she found something out.
What do you mean?
My mother has a gift for investigating. If she had picked up a lead, nothing would have stopped her.
The only thing I can tell you is that Sarah had indeed changed. At the beginning of her stay here, we enjoyed spending time together, solving the world's problems.
You seem to know my mother very well, my lord. What did you talk about together?
Oh, as soon as we had a little free time, we like to share points of view about practically any subject. We would find ourselves embarked on interminable discussions that could go from Monsieur Blanchard's flight in a hot air balloon to the Treaty of Jassy, or the adoption of the metric system in France last year, or even Mr. Eli Whitney's invention in the United States.
Ah, yes. His famous cotton gin. It was supposed to revolutionize cotton production in the United States.
It will revolutionize the world, Louis. The potential of this invention is much greater. Tomorrow, all industries will be switching to simple but large-scale production. Of that, I'm sure.
I'm surprised she didn't get you started on the Crusades. It was her favorite subject.
Are you joking? Sarah and I spent entire days together reliving them. It so happens that the Crusades are also my subject of predilection, especially the third. My ancestor distinguished himself brilliantly during the siege of Saint-Jean d'Acre.
Mother lulled my childhood with tales of the Crusades. How Richard the Lionheart and Philip Augustus had to battle it out to achieve their ends. And how Guy de Lusignan, having broken his word, launched the siege of Saint-Jean d'Acre.
Oh, I see Sarah's lessons have inspired new enthusiasts. Good on you, because not everyone can claim they know as much at your age. Your mother is a very well-read woman. You're quite lucky to have her as a model, Louis.
Yes, I know, but I'm still very worried.
I must admit, there are worse things to worry about now, Louis.
What do you mean?
Since she disappeared, your mother has been seen once. Her behavior on the evening of your arrival greatly surprised Gregory and myself. She resurfaced to attack Emma, Emily Hillsborough's twin sister. And she shot her with a pistol. Then, before Gregory could intervene, she ran off and disappeared again.
I beg your pardon? Hang on.
That means my vision on the wharf, it was actually happening inside the manor. Who shot Emily's sister? The very person she came looking for? Why would she do that?
Excuse me, but between that and the childhood of Lady Adams, it's all a bit much for me to cope with. I need to piece it all together again to see things more clearly. You said that you spent a lot of time talking together at the beginning. What happened for that to change?
I'm afraid I haven't much to tell you. The more the days went by, the more she withdrew into herself. She never gave me an explanation, until the day came when she purely and simply disappeared.
Where did she go when she wanted to be alone?
She would shut herself away in a room we use as a box room upstairs.
Would you allow me to go there?
Naturally, Louis, of course. I'll send you a servant to open it.
Thank you.
That's all I can tell you about the disappearance of your mother, Louis. I would like to have been more helpful.
I shall stay on her trail and follow up any leads.
Thank you. We will meet later on to welcome our last guest. In the meantime, I shall get someone to open the box room upstairs for you.
Thank you.
It was just opposite Mortimer's study.
Monsieur Jacques Perru, Monsieur Napoleon Bonaparte.
Duchess Emily Hillsborough. Duke Manuel Godoy.
Huh, that's me. Monseigneur, His Eminence Cardinal Piaggi. President George Washington. Sir Jacques Perru. Monsieur Napoleon Bonaparte.
Duchess Emily Hillsborough. Duke Manuel Godoy.
Huh, that's me. Monseigneur, His Eminence Cardinal Piaggi. President George Washington.
She's only 6 years old, but the historical context is also critical. Alice had been intentionally posed as a bigger child in a tattered and dirty dress, a kind of character for her to play, likely requested by her family. Although Dodgson reportedly had a parent present at all his photo sessions, a questionable note that Dodgson wrote to the mother of a different little girl, of only 8 years old at the time, with whom he wanted to set up a photo shoot, revealed what could possibly be seen as a disturbing fascination. He writes, "It is a chance not to be lost, to get a few good attitudes of Annie's lovely form and face, as by next year she may, though I much hope won't, fancy herself too old to be a daughter of Eve." Perhaps this type of language was normal at the time, for Dodgson seemed entirely unabashed to communicate these thoughts with the girl's own mother. But in today's perspective, these words are definitely concerning.
Monsieur Johann von Wulner.
Troubling photographs were taken long before Alice in Wonderland was ever cooked up, and so her parents had seen them and still allowed their daughter to be around Dodgson for years. In fact, the Littles had kept a hand-colored copy of the photo in a case in their house. Therefore, we can probably rule this strange photo shoot out as being responsible for the falling out. As strange and creepy as it may sound to us, it's important to remember that when Dodgson was writing in the mid-18th century, the concept of childhood innocence existed. The Littles likely saw nothing wrong with Dodgson's interest in their daughter, nor the partially dressed photos, because they believed that no one would have inappropriate feelings or inclinations towards a child. It just wasn't something that they could understand. It was not a common concept that the average person
Sir Jacques
would even
Perru.
know occurred. Clearly, though, as soon as they thought their daughter was in some sort of
Monsieur
danger,
Napoleon
the
Bonaparte.
Littles quickly removed her from the situation, if that is in fact what happened, of course. A year after the mysterious falling out, Alice in Wonderland was finally published.
Duchess
It
Emily
was met with
Hillsborough.
rave reviews and an adoring public. One of the many reasons it has never been out of print since its 1865 release date. Besides being inspired by the real Alice, Dodgson also looked to other things around him to create his magical world and absurd characters, including other people, common expressions, and songs. The White Rabbit character was said to be inspired by Dillon, Alice's father, who was a very busy man at Oxford and was reportedly always in a hurry and checking his pocket watch before he would run off, often arriving late. Besides, he apparently had a small door in his office that was nicknamed the Rabbit Hole. The elusive, grinning, and disappearing Cheshire Cat was apparently based on a few different things. The phrase "to grin like a Cheshire
President
Cat" was
George
common in
Washington.
time,